So that's right. I didn't talk about Newton and the apple. You always hear that. There's lots of cartoons and mentioned in a lot of places. Did that really happen? Is it just a myth? Or is there anything to it? And so there are some things too. We can't just dismiss it out of hand. Newton himself wrote about the apple. In his version, he's working on the problem of the moon and its orbit about the Earth, and he's gazing out the window at his grandmother's farm, and there's an apple tree out there. To this day, there's an apple tree out there that's from Newton's time, and he happened to see an apple fall from the tree. And he realized that maybe the force making the apple fall from the tree was the same force that was directed toward the center of the moon's orbit, causing it to fall around the Earth. Because we know the moon would go in a straight line if there was no force on it, so did Newton obviously, and the moon curves so it falls below that line. So Newton thought gravity might be an inverse square law. He knew how far an apple would fall in 1 second, and so he calculated how far the moon would fall in 1 second too, using the inverse square law, compared the two values, and they were exactly the same. And so that convinced him that gravity was an inverse square law, and he applied it to a lot of other problems, and that led to the development of Newton's universal law of gravity. Now the problem with this is Newton wrote about this late in his life. And so he was probably suffering from dementia, not all there. Other people had written about this story, and people had probably asked Newton during his lifetime about, was there an apple involved? And maybe he just heard the story from so many people he started to believe it himself. And so from that, we're really not sure what happened. I myself don't think it happened because it was a random chance event having a major influence on history, and I just don't think that can happen. So for example, if Newton's looking out the window and just before the apple falls, his grandmother says, "Isaac, lunch is ready," and so he turns, doesn't see the apple fall. Never solves the problem of the moon, doesn't get that inspiration. When Edmund Halley came to him to ask if he'd ever worked on gravity and was it an inverse square, he would say, "Well, I did, but I never really got anywhere with it." So Halley would have left unsatisfied. He wouldn't have helped Newton publish the Principia. No scientific revolution. The Industrial Revolution retarded maybe hundreds of years, and you guys are about ready to go out and water your horses. So I just really don't think that a random chance event could influence history. Keep going. Then again, maybe it did happen.